So creating and launching a website is one thing, but once it's up, you actually want to be tracking how it's performing in terms of hitting your goals for having the website in the first place. So your goal might be to sell more e-commerce products, or it might be to get more people to fill in your contact form inquiry, or get more people to read your blog. Being clear about what your goal is for your website is really important, but you also need to be tracking some key analytics to see whether you're actually moving towards that as well. And that's what I'm going to be talking about in today's video. So hi, if you're new here, my name is Anna from byrozanna.co.uk. I'm a designer and online educator, and here on YouTube I share videos all about website design, productivity, business, marketing, and all that good stuff. So if you like that kind of content, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up while you're there. So as I say, you probably have a website set up for your business for a purpose. You want it to be doing something, but other than just seeing how many sales you're getting of your products each month or how many contact inquiries you're getting per month, there are other things you can start tracking to do with your website that is going to tell you some key information as to whether your marketing activities are working, whether your SEO is working, whether your website design itself is actually working, and things like that. So I'm going to be covering those things. But first of all, where do you actually find this information? We want to be looking at our website analytics, and you can either do that on your website platform or using an analytics software like Google Analytics. So for example, if you use Squarespace like I do, all you need to do is log into the back end of your website and go to the analytics section. And this is where you can see an overview of the data and things that you want to track for your website. So on the left-hand side here, you can go to traffic and you can see certain numbers here, and you have all of these options on the left-hand side. And I'm going to go through some of these in a minute. But even if you use something like Wix or Shopify or some other kind of website builder, those will usually have some kind of inbuilt analytics ready for you. So you don't actually have to set up anything new. It should be right within the platform. However, if you are using a self-hosted platform like WordPress, this is something you're going to need to set up yourself. And usually Google Analytics is the best option. And even if you do have a Squarespace website or a Wix website, you might want to install Google Analytics anyway, because it does give you a little bit more information than your standard kind of website analytics. But Google Analytics is a little bit more complicated to understand. I'm going to leave some resources below this video about how to actually set up Google Analytics. There's also two versions as well. So Google Analytics 4 is the latest version, and I'll leave again links below to help you set that up. But you can find all of the things that I'm about to talk you through either on your own website analytics like on Squarespace or in Google Analytics. So first of all, we want to look at the traffic you're getting to your website. This is going to tell you how many people are actually viewing your website content now that it's launched. And there are two numbers that you are really going to be looking at. The first is page views, and this is just telling you how many times your pages on your website have actually been viewed. And then you also have unique visitors as well. And so those numbers might be a little bit different because you can have certain visitors coming to your website multiple times, and therefore you're going to get more page views than your unique visitors. But unique visitors is probably the best indication of actually telling you how many individual people are looking at your website each month, or whatever time period you want to set. You can look at it per month, you can look at it per year or per week. I personally just like looking at the last 30 days in my analytics. If you have the older version of Google Analytics, also known as Universal Analytics, you can find this if you go to Audience and then Overview, and this will tell you your page views here and your users here. Obviously at the moment I've only got it set up to display the last week, but if I wanted to do it per month, I can change that there and it will tell me page views to users. So how many people are accessing your website is kind of useful to know, but it's more useful to know where they've actually come from so that you can see which of your marketing efforts is having the most effect. Obviously, most of us will be trying to rank our websites on Google so that people can find us through Google, but there are other ways as well, such as directly linking from various websites around the internet, social media, such as Pinterest, Instagram, stuff like that. And the way to see this in Squarespace, it's called traffic sources. So you would just go to that, and then you can see all of the sources that are bringing people to your website. So here we've got some different options, such as the different search engines, which is really interesting because apparently 58 people are coming to my website from Bing each month. Please do give a thumbs up or leave a comment below if you are using any search engine other than Google. You can also see which social media platforms are referring people to my website, so Pinterest, YouTube, Instagram, and also other referral websites as well. Sometimes Pinterest comes up as a separate website, but there are other ones listed here too. In Google, you can find this in acquisition and then overview. You can see a chart here of where people are finding you from. And as I say, this is really useful to know so that you can see which of your efforts in your marketing is giving you the best results. And maybe if you're not seeing that many people coming or referring to you from Instagram, for example, this might tell you, okay, maybe I need to look at a different social media platform, or maybe I need to alter my content so that it's encouraging people to go to my website more. Maybe my existing content is not encouraging people enough. And these are the sorts of conclusions that your analytics can help you draw. Just a quick interlude, because I think if you are interested in the topic of this video, you might be interested in my website audit workbook. You can go and download it for free. The link is in the video description, but it's basically a workbook with a checklist of things that you can go through on your website to make sure that your website is performing really, really well. It's all up to date, and you can basically tick these things off as you go through each page to make sure that your website is actually converting and performing how you want it to. So yeah, that is completely free to download. Go and check out the link in the video description. Another really useful thing to know is your search keywords. So what keywords are people typing into Google to find your website? And in Squarespace, you can see this. It's got a whole tab. And if we scroll down, you can see all of the keywords and phrases people are typing into Google in order to find my website. Now, the way I have this displaying in Squarespace is because I have something called Google Search Console set up, and I've connected it to Squarespace. It is so important that you as a website owner are set up on Google Search Console. I will leave some resources below, but this is the thing that tracks what people are actually typing into Google to find you. So it's really, really interesting and very simple to set up, and I would definitely recommend everyone with a website does that. And the reason why knowing this data is really important is because you can then see which kind of search terms are bringing up your website on the top pages, and you can analyze why they've got to the top there, because that's great if you're appearing on the first page of Google and people are actually finding you through search terms on Google. That is a great thing, and you definitely should be analyzing your page to kind of figure out why and how it's set up, and maybe how you could emulate that across your other pages. But it also tells you that this could be a good page to go and update and add even more information to, or make sure that you've got some kind of call to action on that page so that you're converting the traffic that you are getting through Google into customers, newsletter signups, whatever it may be. The third thing it can tell you is if you're getting lots of people finding your website through a certain search term, it shows you that that search term is quite popular, and so potentially you could create more content about that search term because it clearly is showing that people are interested in that. So for example, I can see that lots of people are typing in Etsy versus their own website as a search term in Google. And so I do have one resource on that, but because I can see that that's a really popular search term at the moment, people are really interested in that, I could go and create more content based on that, and therefore have people finding me in lots of other ways around that same topic on Google. But as I say, you can't see any of this until you've set up Google Search Console. So go and do that first. Now that we know that people are on your site and how they've got to your site, we want to understand how they're behaving once they're on your website. And one thing that is really important to take into account is your bounce rate. And in Squarespace, you can see this on the traffic tab. And if you want to see this in Google Analytics, you can go to behavior and then overview. And this will give you an overall bounce rate for your website. Mine's pretty high at the moment, but I do have a lot of kind of landing pages and blog posts and freebies that maybe don't necessarily encourage people to stick around and read more on my website, because that is what that means. Bounce rate is basically the percentage of people who land on your website, view the one page and then leave again. So they've bounced off your website. I've got lots of resources and tips to improve that number. You want it to be as low as possible so you know that people are spending more time looking around your content. Lots of tips on that. But if we then move on to the next piece of data that's really important to track, and that is what your popular content is on your website, this can also link in with your bounce rate information as well. So in Squarespace, I've gone to site content, and if we scroll down, this is where we can see a list of our most popular pages on our website. These are the ones that are getting viewed the most. And Squarespace also gives us a really handy indication of what the bounce rate is for that specific page as well. So at the moment, I can see one of my most popular pages is my Etsy versus your own website blog post. Because as I said, this is getting a lot of searches in Google. So this is coming up in Google for that search. And that's why I'm getting a lot of people reading it. It's one of my most popular pages. But I can see here that the bounce rate is pretty high. 89% of people who are looking at this page are reading it and then leaving straight away again. So periodically when I'm looking at my website analytics, I would see something like this and think, okay, how can I go in and improve this blog post to encourage people to stay on my website and look at other pages while they're on there? I don't want so many people to be leaving. So I could then go to that blog post, make edits. I could add more links to other blog posts and useful things that people can click on that page. And then that would hopefully reduce my bounce rate on there. And if you want to see your popular site content on Google Analytics, you would just go to behavior and then site content, all pages. And this will give you a list of your most popular pages and their bounce rates as well on here. So yeah, those are what I think are your most important website analytics to track on a regular basis. I would recommend looking at these maybe once per month, scheduling in some time at the end of each month just to go through them. Make sure that all your popular pages are up to date. They've got call to actions. You're using my bounce rate tips to make sure that people aren't leaving straight away when they access those pages, and also looking at your search terms as well and using that traffic sources analytics to see whether your marketing activities are working at the moment as well. I hope that was helpful. Please feel free to leave any questions in the comments and I will be back again next week with another video.